Hey guys, great to be back again with a LinkedIn live session today in English, as we also have a lot of English-speaking persons in the network. So I'm really welcoming Klaus from 35 Up, and for sure the only one, legendary Redlich Diekmann. Hi guys, how are you feeling
Pleasure
today?
to be here.
Amazing, cool.
Amazing. So nice to be here together with you. So it is perfect, right, Klaus? And we speak about cost channel. So it's really funny to speak about that because it's so nice for your EBIT to have cross channel. So I'm really happy and looking forward to our discussion.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I'm also very happy that we meet, Klaus, because we also have something in common. It's a Chilean history. And I think not all of our audience know how much you're doing. So I think you're kind of multiple entrepreneur. So you have also much in common with Marcus. And one thing that really attracted me first, then I saw your company, it's called 35 Up. And the first thing I was wondering is that 35 Up. So are you able to do 35 push-ups, or what's the thing behind your name?
I wish. I actually I started to train out a little bit more, so maybe 20, I'd say. But so Fabian, Victor, and I, my co-founders and I came up with the name 35 Up because Amazon does 35% of their online revenue with customers also bought, and so the entire cross-selling channel and revenue that comes through it. And looking at sort of the partners that we had in the very beginning, and without our platform, without our cross-selling solution, all of them were, if even like 1 digit or even 0 point something digit. And all of our partners and prospects, they are able to have millions of products and access to millions of products that we have on our platform. And it's basically, sort of the winning strategy without a hassle to be able to cross-sell those items that we have on the platform to eventually achieve really sort of that 35% or more. And that's why it's 35% and up, 35 up.
That's really amazing. Honestly saying, a lot of our merchants are still not using any kind of cross-selling functions in their store. So I'm also very stunned about that because having, let's say, different channels to sell through, I mean, that's not a rocket science, but having the ability to allow your customers to purchase more than you have in store is something that some of the merchants might be struggling with because they think they don't have that product in store. So how can they cross-sell? But I think you already said that's one of the key benefits that you have, that you are providing the cross-sell opportunities for your merchants. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So to sort of go a little back. So we started the company. We had actually just one vendor on the platform for cases, and it was sort of the partners, they always wanted to have just physical inventory, and whatever they didn't sell, they sent back to us. So a very, very old school way to source products. And we thought about, okay, what is a way to automatically match and push products into the funnel, the product detail pages, the online checkout that perfectly fits to whatever's currently in the main in the basket as a main item. And that could be anything. I mean, we currently have multiple different vendors from, we offer books, we do barbecue accessories, we do cases, electronics, for instance, but we also do insurances and carbon offset products, right? So you're able with just to have all of those, to access to all of those products automatically matched to whatever you have in the basket. And by doing that, I mean, the biggest advantage is really, number one, you don't have to have own inventory. Number two is you don't need to have someone manually matching or hoping that the matching works. No onboarding or offboarding, and just this sheer volume and portfolio of different products. And the best part is it's one API, right? You don't have to have one API for insurance, one API for carbon footprint offset, and one API for books, for instance, if you like to sell books to the end customer.
Yeah, cool. I mean, we as Shopware, we're currently developing into an AI first company. So that's why I also was very curious to know a little bit more about the AI technology that you are using, I can imagine that matching process is something where AI plays an important role. So that there's a kind of personalization behind that based on the interest of the buyer. You are going to have a perfect recommendation which product you choose. Is that one of the things, or do you have also more that you can maybe tell our audience how AI is working in collaboration with your solution?
That means
Yes.
more, Boris. That means more that Klaus knows what I want before I know what I want, right? So
Yeah.
Correct. Pretty
you can
pretty much.
I'm really sure, Mike, my assistants are saying Marcus would like to drink a beer tomorrow, because it's not
It doesn't need an AI, Marcus. Cool.
So I mean, there's the beauty of cross-selling kind of works already with a minimum amount of data, right? So we can use, you know, more data, such as that on session behavior, of what the customer looks at, and other information, you know, that merchant of Shopware has on the customer. But they're not mandatory, right? So we can work with a lot of data, but we can also work with a minimum amount of data just about the product. And the beauty is, since we have so many different merchants, we use the data that we collect across different merchants, different categories, and based on that also give better recommendations, something that the shop itself wouldn't just have, because we really use this entire amount of data, right? So we see ourselves a little bit like Robin Hood of cross-selling, just to give everyone sort of the same benefit, and not have, you know, your own little team, if you even have one, and kind of really do that matching, right? And there's different techniques sort of in AI driven, right? There's sort of traditional approach and the sort of the newer approach. And the traditional approach is sort of, you know, for instance, using sort of the natural language processing, like similarities. You look at other order data in the past, what has worked, what was brought together. It's called the sparse matrix factorization. It's like sort of the vectors that are closed, the verticals that are closed. But it doesn't work really in cross-selling, right? Because what you see on Amazon is also like, if you know, you often also get like this, the customer has also looked at others, right, at similar products. And this is not something we do. We really want to make sure that it's complementary, right? That without even a hesitation, the end customer just clicks on whatever is currently also displayed in the basket to the main item without even thinking, right? And that's not, you know, if you buy a bike, you don't buy, you know, another bike in the checkout. And this has happened often in the past with Amazon, right? So they have done that.
That's not right. You know, only if you buy 3 bikes directly, then you are a really cool rider. Without that, no.
Yeah.
You can tell that.
And I fully agree, especially I think since Marcus and I share this beauty of the craziness for bikes.
But let me help you with that, because I think it is really a really cool example. Because one of my business friends is the CEO from one of the biggest dealer with Mercedes cars. So from Germany. He has such a big company, and he's really successful. And then we speak about cross selling, and it's really crazy. You sell a car for 80,000 euros, but it is not possible to sell. Was ist eine Versicherung?
Insurance.
Yeah, insurance. Sell the insurance, but you need it for your car, right?
Sure,
or to sell other stuff which you need. And it's the same if you speak about bikes. If you go to a dealer, you buy your bike, but you need also a bike t-shirt. You need everything, and not only a bike. And that is what if you take a look to Rose Bike, we are better in that online than offline today.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's kind of also where our approach comes in. And it really took us, it was super complicated, and it took us a while, right? I mean, we've been on it at like for the last 2.5 years, really building up that algorithm. But we use topic intersections or topic vectors to identify sort of the fitting products, and then use the natural language processing and several other algorithms to identify the best products out of the fitting ones. And the beauty is really that, we have this just sheer amount of different products that we are then able to showcase just through one API, and also test a lot of different items against each other without the shop even having to put anything in inventory. And I completely agree with Marcus. You have to have products like insurances. You have to have products like, in like lights to a bike, or whatever makes the most sense. But a lot of merchants, especially SMBs, they don't want to have that inventory risk, right? They often have like main products, like that bike, for instance, that Marcus said, or with a couple of partners that we're live with already, like let's say like a cell phone case. Cell phone. They don't want to have like this massive amount of inventory for iPhone 10 cases, 11, 12, 13. And what do they do with them if they once there's end of life for a certain product, then they sit on excess inventory, which is, number one, as that pain in the ass. Number two is just liquidity that's in stock. So that really doesn't make any sense. And the beauty, really, what we do is having that one API, and you can have digital. Exactly like Marcus said, with insurances, also different types of insurances that you can have. Like the more expensive the bike is, the better the insurance could be. You could have like a premium insurance, a cheaper version of the insurance you could pay monthly or yearly, and all of that is obtainable through our platform, without the merchant having to onboard individual partners like the Allianz, like Neo Digital, like others. You can get all of that through one API.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think if you speak about that, it is also, if you take a look to the past. In the past, it was really important that you have every stuff in your store offline, because people buy it in their region, so it was necessary to have it in the region. Today it is not necessary, and online is also not necessary. So it is a big risk to have the biggest assortment ever if you are not the biggest one. But it is at the same time, it's a big chance to have it, to use it, to take it, like in your way, like you described it, because it's important. Then you can learn, my customers, they need also that. And after the first the experience, then you can buy it on your own, or you can take another stuff, and you can make your assortment bigger and bigger and bigger, and become bigger. And at the same time, you make your customer happy. And I think it is really funny, because you have also great offers on your website. I really like to visit your website, because I like it. It's really cool, because you have to pay 9 euros per month. Then it is the first offer, right? Or you can pay 250. And people like me, I'm living here in Coesfeld. It's a really small city in Germany, a really small one. And we all more like farmers, and we think 9 euros or 250, then we will take 9, because we are farmers and we take a look to every euro. But then he make a trick. He say, if you pay 250, you become a discount. I think it is, let me check, 8% or something. 8%. If you use the product from other, you can get a discount, 8%. I think it is really smart, and I really like the idea. If you share the risk with us, you pay more, then you take over more risk, but you can at the same time you can get a really big discount. So really smart.
Yeah, our goal was really to allow sort of small merchants to grow with us, right? Have with a Shopware plugin to use to use us, to get to know us, that we grow with a merchant. We start small. I mean, others, like, they start with the higher monthly fee, as exactly like you mentioned, Marcus. But in the very beginning, for us, it's just really important that everyone gets used to what we do. And the better we are, I mean, we don't make clearly we don't make that much money on the €9. If the better we are with AI, with algorithm, also with, and the more successful the merchant gets, we make more money. That's really our goal. And the minute the merchant makes enough money to actually, to make it worthwhile for him to get the 8% discount, or even more if he grows larger with Shopware and also with us, then he can also book a larger package. But exactly, we want to, like I said before, right? We want to be sort of the Robin Hood. We want to be able to offer those millions of products automatically to all of the Shopware merchants that would like to have the cross-selling solution.
Amazing. One thing that personally I think attracted me most on cross-selling is that when I'm on a website and I wanted to purchase a product, and shortly before checkout I see, hey, that could be also one thing that I could add. That's amazing, because maybe sometimes you don't think about that kind of cross-sell opportunities or additional products that might be a good fit for you. But I have on other websites as well seen a lot of, let's say, annoying information about, buy this as well. So maybe you need to click 2-3 times before you then finally get to the checkout. And for us at Shopware, it's all about customer experience, and we want to have it really smooth. So I don't want to have that my customers, my buyers, are going to be distracted from the initial purchase that they wanted to do. How do you do with those things so to keep the customer experience as smooth as possible?
Yeah. I mean, you probably refer to like checkouts like Ryanair, where you need 20 different clicks to actually get to your flight.
Exactly.
But so number one is, I think, to have the quality of the product is super important to I mean, number one, to reduce any types of returns or unhappy customers. Or our vendors, our suppliers, may it be the insurances, maybe carbon footprint, maybe the physical products that we have, is like from curated vendors, very similar to what Amazon does. If you screw up in our vendor network, I mean, you wouldn't be displayed anymore. We have that's also the beauty if we have multiple vendors for very similar products, right? So even if one vendor runs out of stock or can't deliver or is bad in delivering, we could just have very similar other products to show, so the merchant doesn't run out of recommended items. So as I said, the recommendation engine to that is currently constantly fed is usually better than if it's everything is manually matched. So there's really generated value for the end customer. And the most important is, you mentioned already briefly, is sort of the seamless integration with own UX UI for the merchant. So that's also part of the plugin, that everything that if you install it, it goes in a very sort of seamless integration, the look and feel of the merchant shop, right? And the beauty there, and one more item is with to have that sort of the seamless integration in the look and feel, the end customer buys it there. He sees this even as the Shopware shop as the one-stop shop as a benefit. He can buy all of those cross-selling items automatically in that journey with the same UX UI, and doesn't go to for instance, to Amazon or others, or to the competition and buys it there, because he or she is already in that funnel, has already made up her or his mind to buy the main item, the expensive item, and getting sort of the cross-selling item, but you already have the loyalty of the customer. It just wouldn't make any sense to like not show that, and then it's like, yeah, but I still need it, so I'll go to Amazon and buy it there, right? So that's kind of why our plugin is also the way that it's sort of that seamless integration in the look and feel.
Yeah, cool.
And if you take a look, for example, you know the nerve, you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you would like to buy a nerve, it is not enough to have a nerve, right? you need also a lot of other stuff from the nerve that the kids and I can have a lot of fun. So you see, but in the first shop, which I visit in the morning, they only had the nerve. So it's not helpful, right? I can't
Correct.
order only, yeah. So you see, you have a really important job. And let's talk about customer acquisition costs. So if you take a look to Google or to social like Insta or whatever, you see they get higher and higher and higher, the cost and acquisition costs. So it's not only enough to sell one product. You need to sell more products, and it's only possible if you have a really big cross-selling strategy. So it's really helpful to use your tool also for that.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. Are you assisting as well to the cross-sell strategies of a company? Because I can imagine, Klaus, that it's really, really important to have the right products as a cross-sell. So, for example, Marcus is today wearing a hat of Armed Angels, one of our major customers. So, they have for sure also recommendations, etc. But maybe you don't have products that an Armed Angel customer would also then require. So I think that then definitely needs a huge fit. That's first. Then also the decision when in the acquisition process you're going to implement the recommendation for the cross-sell. And I think there needs really to be a good overlap and how to implement those cross-selling strategies. And I think, you're as an expert, sure, I can go to your website and book instantly a kind of commercial plan to use you. But on the other hand, I can imagine that there's also high demand on assisting in a good cross-sell strategy. Is that the case? Are customers requesting that?
Some of them, it's really interesting. So some of them are like, please just do it for us. We have no one in our team who can actually do that. So please 35 up. The more successful you are, the better. Then you have other partners of ours that would like to at least be able to allow list and deny list certain categories. That you don't have certain product categories at all in the shop. So we do have calls where we have a support line, of course, but usually the idea, especially now with the plugin, is that it's very, very seamless, and the merchant can like manually, even him or herself, do those edits in the background in sort of our admin panel. So that's kind of the idea. But we of course assist, especially now in the very beginning. We do assist customers. So yeah, it's not required from all. So I would say it's like 30% required, 70% don't. So it's still pretty good. But we of course assist. And to Marcus's point, that's actually a good point. The customer acquisition cost is something that we've seen just by the possibility of us pushing more products into the checkout. Of course, the revenue goes up, hence the EBIT goes up, right? The merchants do get quite the big chunk of the product that we cross sell, right? We take a couple of percent. We take a couple of percent, and that's pretty much it, right? So the big portion, the euro value as well as the percentage, stays with the merchant. So what does that mean? Talking about customers like acquisition costs, the merchant is able to use that additional EBIT to steer more customers to the website, right, to their own shop, just by being able to spend more money on the customer through the additional EBIT that we generated. So that's sort of a win-win, and the better we get, the more customer comes. So it's like this reinforcing flywheel. Like the more customers, the more the better we get with data, etc., and the more and hence the more money the shop has to spend on customer acquisition. Hence more customers, more data, etc. So it's a pretty good wheel to make everyone happy.
Yeah, cool. Just a question, Klaus, is not the data that you get from your customers the real value behind it? Because, Marcus mentioned it a few minutes ago that you are then learning much more about the behavior of your customers and the real desires of what they want to purchase. So that gives you then a good hint on extending your portfolio, adding different values or different products to your store. And I think that's something that I think is one of the big assets.
Correct. So that's super important to us, and we've seen this with current vendors already, that even they benefit from us onboarding new vendors, and for we onboard vendors on a monthly basis, sometimes weekly basis, and the beauty is the merchant, once the API is live or the plugin is live, they don't have to do anything but just have access to all that additional products, right? So that's pretty big value add for them. And again, coming back to sort of our gathering our data, we use that data that we get to help all of the merchants on the site, so on our platform, and which kind of is the sort of the Robin Hood effect again. We're not holding it back for certain merchants, but we're giving because the recommendations to all of them, because the better they are throughout the platform, throughout the merchants, the more money they make, the more money we make.
Yeah, cool. By the way, I'm really curious to see that the kids are going to be part of our session right now.
Yeah, so also
exactly
like to speak
the future of e-com.
Yeah, what do they think about this?
But yeah, it could be that they will become the future of e-commerce, but today they are a really strong customer.
There you go.
Yeah, the Nerf guns. That's amazing. By the way, Klaus, how do you measure really the success of the cross-selling strategy? I mean, we talked about data, for example. That's one of the things that you gather. It's sure the revenue, the additional EBIT. I mean, that's also good. But how do you set up, for example, a plan for a successful cross-sell strategy? So I can imagine that sometimes it takes time until that strategy also pays off. How do your customers do that?
So the metrics like we use is sort of the percentage of users that actually buy a cross-selling item. From that, then as at the additional products that are sold, and then how much additional margin it is for the shops, and keep in mind, as said, that our algorithm learns with every sale. So it's again this reinforcing wheel, but those are usually sort of the the success of sort of, as you mentioned, like what's important to measure the success of a cross-selling strategy is exactly that, like really how many additional products are sold, and our goal is not to only cross-sell one to the main item, but like 2 or 3 or 4, right? That's kind of how perfect the algorithm should be to showcase different and perfectly matching products to the main item. And then, of course, the additional margin, as said, for shops, and the percentage of users that actually buy a cross-selling item, which is sort of I said, up to 35%, that we really get there, and add as much value as possible into that checkout.
Yeah. And what is the reason that not everyone is using your IT platform and your network?
So we just started with our Shopware plugin. We came from sort of enterprise, and of course, Shopware of course also has a lot of enterprise and large customers. We didn't have plugins or apps. You may name them. We integrated in companies like AliTalk, Refurb, etc. So really in big shop systems, with Hybris, SAP, etc., to first of all learn a lot, but also to build features that we didn't have. And it took us like 2.5 years or so to build this platform. I mean, the majority of our team is it's probably 92%, 90% is tech, right? So it's a very, very heavy tech driven company, and we needed a lot of time to build all of that, to actually have sort of such a strong platform. And then on the other hand, now of course with the plugin, it's going to be a lot easier, the sales cycle with our partners. But it's always a matter of making it to the roadmap, and the Shopware plugin is going to make that a lot easier. But if it as it was before was sort of an API integration, so there was more manual work on the side of the partners that we already onboarded or are currently onboarding. So it took a little longer, and then you need sort of the perfect slot in their IT roadmap, and it gets high priorities usually with what we do, given it's one API, and you can kind of, as you exactly, Marcus, as you said, insurances, carbon footprint. It solves a lot of problems with just one API, but it's still, and you know, Boris and Marcus, we all know, we've all worked a long time in e-com and with certain tech systems. The tech roadmap is always sort of the bottleneck. That's why I also don't really have direct access to my tech team. I love them, but I think my both co-founders would not give me direct access in the Slack channel to mess around with the priorities.
It's the same here. Boris and I, we also don't have a direct access, right?
Yeah, we know the peers. We're going to solve those issues. That's better.
It is so important that we don't have that, because it's so important that they can work on the strong roadmap. We know what they are doing, and we can handle it, and we can make our customers happy, like you are also doing that in your case. So, but it's not important that Boris and I, try to become a developer.
Yeah, cool. We have talked, by the way, so much about the right strategy on cross-selling, good important things to recognize. But what's one of the fails or mistakes that you can really do by setting up a cross-sell strategy? I can just imagine by recommending just in the strategy the wrong portfolio, something that doesn't fit your company identity. Also, could be something where you can do a lot of failure. Maybe something that you really don't recognize before, and then that becomes a fail.
Yeah,
I don't know. Do you have an example to tell us?
I mean, it's what I mentioned in the very beginning of the session here. I mean, number one is really like that the merchant puts products in inventory, hoping that they sell based on, you know, gut feeling, right? That's, I mean, I've been there. Previous company was like, oh yeah, that's going to sell, and then it never did, and then you have to like sell it to like fire sale it for you know, a fraction of what you wanted to sell it in the first place. Or you need someone that also probably bases a lot on gut feeling, someone else in the team, right? So there's a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, there's gut feeling, there's zero data. They think it sells well, and then it doesn't. And then, you know, it fits only to the main item in the basket. Then the main item is all of a sudden super quickly sold out. The supplier of the main item can't supply that anymore, and then you sit on excess inventory, right? So that in today's time is zero sustainable, right? It doesn't make any sense. This is why I'm so proud of the platform and this really decentralized inventory that we have, you know, having products with all of those different vendors, so exactly that the merchant doesn't have to have all that like individual inventory being built up at their own facility for all of those cross-selling items. Makes no sense, because at the end of the day, yes, the customer gets 2 boxes, for one from the merchant and one from sort of our vendor. But overall, like everything that we ship is with DHL, and DHL, you know, sets everything off carbon footprint wise, and using excess inventory and build up excess inventory that you then may or may not sell. Just the natural resources to build that up is far more unsustainable, far more, you know, bad for the environment. Than just receiving two packages. And I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, Amazon has done it, Zalando has done it, Otto has done it, right? People are used to getting one or two, more than one package to their doorstep, delivered to their doorstep. So that's And then, as that biggest mistake, of course, that's me, sales guy, not using 35 upright. So you gotta. At the end of the day, I mean, we have you know, tons of people sitting on that algorithm. You know, people from actually like around the world, from Argentina, from like just like very widespread, to actually train that, and using and doing that yourself. It's just a pain. It's quite complex.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, that's really great insights. Sure. And you took your shot, yeah. So on 35 up, that's good.
Yeah.
By the way, I mean, if you see that you refer to all the different stores, the bigger ones like Amazon, Otto, whatever, who are doing already a lot of cross-selling, so users get used to it and would miss something like a cross-sell option in the store. And I think amazing that with 35 up, you have an option to immediately start with cross-selling before doing all that stuff. So 2 questions that I have in mind: is that also a good A/B testing solution? Because you can, I mean, how can you be better try to sell a product by using cross-selling, because you can just display certain products in a period of time and really put it off or on the store without really changing your assortment. You know what I mean? I mean,
I know exactly what you mean. So that's actually automatically done by our algorithm, right? So every time we onboard into a partner, there's essentially A to Z testing, right? So we test different products, and it's not just A/B, right? It's not just A/B testing. It's we test, or our algorithm tests all sorts of possible products, and the one that converts the best is being displayed more, right? So it's like this reinforcement learning that we have. The better, the better the products that are performing, the more they're being displayed, and the shop doesn't have to do even just A/B testing. Of course, it can do that manually, but again, the algorithm kind of does that for you already, and that's kind of also what we drive on, right? We need that data, and we test a lot of stuff. So that's kind of, I said, for us, the sort of the A to C testing, A bis Z, and not just A/B.
Yeah, cool. Great. By the way, as we're approaching the last 5 minutes of our conversation, is there any kind of action, something that you can recommend to a merchant that is now trying to set up a cross-sell strategy? Something that, I mean, also refers to the next trends in cross-sell. I mean, there's a lot of things currently on the net that you see, but is there something more? We're approaching currently the age of AI. So I can imagine that there's in the pipeline a lot of more that we may see in the future of AI, and that might be also attracting more merchants to now step on using a cross-sell tool like yours.
So that's a very good point. I mean, it's gonna change drastically in the next couple of weeks, months, years. It's the interesting thing for us. It's a very new field of cross selling, to allow that outside of Amazon, that everyone that all of our merchants. It's something pretty new, and it's sort of an unexplored domain. The overall, the big, and what you just mentioned, the big general AI trends definitely apply. Sort of the big native language models like ChatGPT and such can also be cross-selling, but you need to have, and this is something we're also very much exploring, is we use that as well, also feed that together with our algorithm into one database. So we definitely use external algorithms to also feed our algorithm as well, to make it even stronger. And we definitely use sort of what's currently being developed or is already out there. And we all know how powerful ChatGPT is already, but you still need to adapt that and make it learn the way what I just mentioned with the A to C testing, and often with like even ChatGPT, you have like very repetitive suggestions, etc. It's going to definitely get there, but we also want to make sure that with our plugin, to have that with the merchants, it's very sort of tailored also to the individual customers, and that's why we need to have sort of our algorithm in the middle, and not just connect ChatGPT as a cross-selling engine to Shopware as a plugin. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in 3 to 4 years. I doubt it. I think you still need something in between, but you also don't want to have Shopware merchants just like implementing ChatGPT, because it's also sometimes still not sometimes, actually quite unpredictable still with what answer it'll show you. It's sometimes very surprising and good, but it's also very unpredictable still what it shows you, right? And we kind of want to just make sure that it's very the suggestions are tailored to the individual customers.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. Sounds great. Yeah, it is amazing when I see what dealers can use such tools and use that as a big chance. I think it's really amazing. But yes, you have at the same time a lot of dealers have a strong roadmap. I understand that, but makes a choice for what is important, what is really important, what is really important for the customer, what makes the customers happy. I think what you have makes customers really happy. So it is important, and sometimes you have to change your roadmap for important stuff, right?
That's exactly what we what our end, like our final argument over is like, hey guys, you make a lot of money with it, and you have to implement it once, and then you have like all sorts of possibilities and opportunities, and you might be surprised, what certain products work. And as I said, I think it's a huge value driver to not lose sort of your cross-selling revenue to the competition.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, my last question, Klaus. It might sound a little bit superficial, but sometimes those kind of questions stick more into the mind of the people that are watching us right now. Is that, do you have 3 different things that you can recommend to merchants who want to set up a really well-working cross-selling strategy?
So I think, good cross-selling is difficult, right? It's very complex and capital insensitive. So, really looking at sort of solutions like 35up is definitely worth it. Of course, I have to say that, I mean, it's what my passion is. But it's very easy to set up, and you, as I said, you save a lot of money, and you don't need to build up a large portfolio of products in your inventory. And we even see that like we have merchants that ask their vendors right now that they already had in the past to onboard themselves on our platform because they want to reduce their inventory risk overall, like even with existing relationships. And one thing we see is of course, you then can combine the purchasing power as well, right? The more, goes through our platform, the overall price of certain products not always has to, but like may go down, but then it goes down for everyone, right? So that's also another advantage. And as I said, the beauty, it has to, number 3 is it has to be as seamless as possible. I mean, looking at refurb, people cannot even distinguish that, the products come from someone else. You just click it and it adds it automatically to the basket. Super seamless. So that's very, very important. And of course, and this is also what's done by the API, but, even if people want to, play around with it manually, it's just super important that it's the cross-selling item, first of all, fits clearly, but also isn't too expensive, right? Because people are price sensitive. I mean, they're not that price. They're basically zero price sensitive for crossing until a certain amount or percentage amount of the main item, right? So I mean, basic example, you have a main item in the basket of 200 euros. You can't cross-sell him something for 400, right? So that'll not work. So it's also quite important to have the right product and also look at pricing, what you show him or her being the end customer. So that's kind of all of that kind of goes into the overall strategy that I'd recommend.
Cool. Great. Thanks a lot. Any last question from you, Marcus? Oh, you're on mute.
Yes, I have a last question. What are your plans for your weekend?
Plans for the weekend. My sister is coming to Berlin, so it's pretty good. And we're most likely going to my favorite Italian place tomorrow night here in Berlin. So you definitely got to check it out. I already told Boris, I think last time we talked, is Tirelli's. It's like here in Kreuzberg. An amazing Italian. He does all the pasta himself. So very recommendable. And I don't get a kickback. It's the price is amazing, and you don't get a kickback. Yeah, oh, see, there's already a fork, so perfect. So you're already getting ready for the pasta.
Yes, and he's also using your technical stuff, so to know or to make recommendations for, hey, if you order the pasta, please take also that.
That would be down the road eventually. Eventually maybe like an offline recommendation system. But again, that's why I love stuff like that. But that's also the reason I said I don't have access to our tech team, because stuff like that would be something that really I like, but it doesn't make sense for the time being, and it's kind of important.
Now I will show also my last example. Karina, please come. Please come and show what you eat. Zeig, was du isst. Here. And I know for cross-selling that you also need the ice, right?
See?
You only need that or also ice?
That works.
That was
so the UX.
You see that? Now I'm really also a cross-channel genius. You see that?
The UX UI needs to be improved.
Yeah. Cool. They're great, guys. That was a really fantastic session. Thanks, Klaus, for attending and also letting us know about the real strategies behind cross-sell. It was really, really, hyped to see that. And glad that we did the session. Also, thanks to Marcus and the complete family. Great job on cross-selling to your kids, Marcus.
Yeah, thanks for that.
There you go.
Cool. Great.
Cool.
See you guys.
Have a great day, guys.
Thanks to Klaus. Thanks to Boris. Enjoy.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.